This week we are celebrating over 5,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, so thank you so much for following. It's really great to have so many of you on board. We've also just sent off the files for Luddite and Tabletop ink, so the manufacturing process of these has begun, which is really exciting. So today I thought I'd run through with you my current top 10 board games. They're in rough order, so here goes. Number 10 is Blood on the Clock Tower. This social deduction game is one I would highly recommend, particularly if you like things like Mafia or Werewolf. This is a lot more complex, there's a lot more roles to it. I have a monthly board game club in my local town, and shout out to Nick, who is the awesome guy who runs this for us. I don't often get a chance to play, but even just watching this game is a lot of fun and very exciting. Also, they have extensive resources online on how to be the storyteller, how to play, the different roles and things like that. And so in social deduction games, I don't think I've seen anyone do it as well as this. So check out their resources if you're interested for sure. Number 9 is MicroMacro. I love the concept of this game. It doesn't make sense when you explain it to someone. First time I heard it, I thought, I have no idea how anyone would possibly do this. It's a time-lapsed map of some rather gruesome stories that all cross paths. You get asked questions as you go, and you're trying to solve murders and different crimes that are happening across the MicroMacro board. There's several different versions now, each of which I think we have, but we haven't got through them yet. I'm actually thinking about colouring in one of these maps one day when I actually find enough time, so watch this space. Also, it won Spiel des Jahres in 2021, so these guys have done a fantastic job. Number 8 is Deep Sea Adventure. This is actually a Japanese game, and me and Joe used to live in Japan, so there's a lot of appeal there for us. It is a push your luck game, but it's fast enough to not be a problem for those with a bad roll. I've had so much fun playing this game, and I probably prefer it at higher player counts because you can get deeper to get the treasure and then hopefully get back, of course. This is also a game that always surprises me when I am teaching it. I always warn people to not go too far down, particularly in round 1, because you will drown and none of your treasure will count, but everyone still does it and they always die and don't get back to the submarine. So it always surprises me how this little game tempts you. Also, there's some interesting design choices in this game. For example, the dice only go to 3. I don't really know why they've done this. I'm guessing it's because they didn't want 1 to be a possibility, so it just makes things more exciting. Number 7 is Pandemic. So I have Pandemic Legacy Season 1, which was actually my first Legacy game ever. I love how the Epidemic cards pile on the pressure by bringing back the cards that have already been hit by disease. It makes it really exciting, and I like the cooperative nature. I personally prefer competitive games, and this is actually one of the very few that I really enjoy as a cooperative game in my collection. Being a Legacy game, this was a massive inspiration for us when we were designing Solar 175. And as a Legacy game, you get to unlock new material, which I always find really exciting as well. Rob Davio was also kind enough to join me on an interview, so I'll put the link to that below because he gives you some really good design tips. Number 6 is Raiders of the North Sea. I'm really loving this game that on your turn you are placing as well as picking up a worker from an action, so you're doing 2 different things each turn. I like the communal workers in this game. And there's also different types of workers which act differently. The game's really replayable, lovely components. I'm a massive fan of metal coins, if you didn't already know. And these guys have some really good bespoke metal coins, which I love playing with. They just really add to the experience for me. Being a big fan of Euro games too, I really like lots of decisions, and I find Raiders of the North Sea scratches that itch for me. Number 5 is Distilled. In this game, you are crafting spirits in a distillery. There are gorgeous, high-quality components. It's a hand management and set collection game. and I just find it really interesting. There is also a small push your luck element in there as well, and it's just done so well. I'm also a massive fan of thematic games, and Distilled definitely packs a punch with theme. Number 4 is Viticulture. This is a great gateway game into more complex gaming. It's a worker placement game that's highly replayable and all about making wine. So what more can you want? There are grande workers, and these can get placed on any action, and they can't be blocked. So that's quite a nice element. You don't feel like you can get blocked out of an action you really want to do that round. It's also really easy to teach, and it's really thematic. And as you know, theme for me is massive. So Viticulture is one I get to the table quite frequently. Number 3 is Orléans. This was also a massive inspiration for our game Solo 175. It's bag building and worker placement combined. It's a bit of a shame about the components. I would have liked to see them higher quality, but overall it doesn't put me off the game. Again, very thematic, and also it feels really satisfying because there's so many different ways you can get victory points. This is a really crunchy Euro and just a lot of fun. Number 2 is Great Western Trail. This is another crunchy Euro. It's actually the first game that got me really excited about modern board gaming. I find the mechanisms come together really nicely. Great engine building, very satisfying feeling as you play. And I love the loop of deck building your herd of cows and getting them to Kansas and then shipping them off to different areas. It's a lot of fun, very crunchy as I said. There's multiple paths to victory, so lots of different things you can be doing in the game. You can be training cowboys, moving your trains, building more buildings, upgrading your buildings. There's just a ton to do and a lot of really cool expansions as well. That's why Great Western Trail is my number 2. And my number 1 is Inish. Inish is a really, really interesting game. It's probably the most played game I have in my collection. It is so thematic, and each game really tells a story. It's got beautiful artwork throughout, which is really, really nice, and there's also loads of cards, so it's really highly replayable. So it's a mix of card drafting and area control. So instead of having victory points that you add up at the end, this game has victory conditions. So your clan has to be in a certain amount of places, you have to be in the presence of certain buildings, and you have to rule over a certain number of other clans. I've just had so many great experiences with Inish. As I say, this is one I've got to the table the most, and it's always a lot of fun no matter what player count. So I'd highly recommend if you haven't tried out Inish. So I hope you enjoyed my run through of my current top 10 games. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. Maybe some of my top 10 board games are in your top 10. Thanks very much for watching, and if you like this video or any of my videos on this channel, in fact, I'd love it if you could like and subscribe to show your support. Thanks so much, and I'll be back soon. Bye!